Now, so what's the driving power for the heart to contract? The heart is a very interestingly made out of heart cells. So let's think of in our body, what are those kinds of cells that is excitable? And you can think of two cell types. One is neuron in our nervous system, and the second is heart cells because it contracts. Okay, so these contractile heart cells, we call it more academically cardiac means heart, myo means muscle site cell. So it's just literally heart muscle cells or cardiomyocytes. Or you can just change the order, calling myocardiocytes of the heart wall. And the heart wall, we can also call it as a myocardium, muscular heart. And these heart cells are electrically excitable. And that's like neurons, and they can exhibit, neurons are excitable cells. And those you know already from neuroscience or basic biology. And neuron cells exhibit action potential. And what is action potential? Action potential is a propagating electrical potential changes of the cell membranes, and which makes an impulse along the membrane of a muscle cell or nervous cell. So this is called action potential. And just remember about the neuron. Neuron has about 3 parts. Their shapes are all different, but basically they have cell body containing nucleus and a lot of protein generating machineries. And the cell body has a lot of branches, which is called dendrites, basically obtaining signal from or other neurons. And with that signal combined, and then neuron decide whether it will fire or not, which we call action potential through this long branches called axon, which sometimes wrapped by myelin, and they have a structure, and at the end they have branch which were attached to another neuron or muscles. Another neuron, they actually touch, not physically, but there's a gap. We call it as a synapse. So this is pre-synapse and post-synapse. And between them, they have a connection, but this transmission of the action potential is now chemically done. And that we call chemical synapse. And this is a, neurons communicate with the others via a synapse. But what about heart cells? Heart cells are also excitable, means heart cells exhibit action potential. That excitable heart cells are connected through not, chemical synapse, but they connect the electrical synapse. That we call gap junction. So let's take a look at the heart cells, the connection. So heart cells are this connect to another cells, neighboring cells via this called gap junction. So electrical activity enters, and that actually spreads to another cell via this gap junction. So once this heart is electrically action potential is generated, and it will provide spread. So spread to adjacent cells, So it kind of, once it started, it keeps spreading its electrical potential, and that potential means the heart cell has an, of course it contains an ectomyosin, so it will contract. So I'm gonna show you this gap junction. So gap junction is a specialized intercellular connection of connecting two cytoplasm between adjacent cells. So it looks like this, and it's composed of connexins, and it can close and open. And so it communicates the cytoplasm and electrical activity between adjacent cells. And this gap junction, sometimes we call electrical synapse.